A players, B players, C players. Everyone wants to have A players in their business. But how do you actually get those people? How do you get A players into your business? And once you get those people, how do you keep them? That's what I'm going to be covering in this video. Make sure to subscribe to the channel. We were talking about how you need the right people who are not necessarily the best people. And basically, how do you know you have the right people? So this is part of like implementing, scaling up. So, I mean, last time we already talked about what and who we need, but the question remains that how do we actually get those people? And I mean, typically, if you think about hiring process as such, I mean, how do you get people? It's basically about your reputation and then selling your vision and then just getting more and better applicants. I mean, that's pretty straightforward. So some effective recruitment methods are, first of all, like hiring through referrals. I mean, we have made plenty of this, that we actually hire people who have been referred by someone. Then it's basically employer branding. So but this is basically if you have already like a really strong brand and really strong like company reputation. So it's basically more for these corporate types. And of course, I mean, it's important that like you have really like if you're selling on Amazon, that you have really cool brand and so on. But that's not necessarily going to get you like people. And then, I mean, be engaging in the process of attracting talents and basically fish where there are fish, meaning that recruit where there is talent that you are looking for. And the thing is that the best people are always employed. Typically, when if you're a really good like employee, I mean, you are not really unemployed ever, because there's always some companies that want to hire you. And then, I mean, testing assessments for functional and behavioral competences, like the behavioral assessment and so on. And I'm also going to be briefly talking about Topgrading, which is basically this method in assessing and selecting the best candidate that's right for your company. And it's really utilized when you narrow your initial pool of qualified candidates and then getting the right person for the team. But yeah, just briefly about Topgrading. I mean, we've been using it for quite some time, and it's actually been really good for our HR manager. And I remember when we started using it, she was really like, yeah, I mean, this is a really good system to use. But it's basically that, I mean, you get rid of job description and replace it with job scorecard. And I mean, cultural fit, I mean, that's always one of the main things. And the results the person that needs to deliver for the company. So it's more about the output and then basically doing these different types of interviews. So, I mean, Topgrading is a way how to get this, how to hire people. And so, and especially when you're at the phase where you're growing all the time, then you're going to be needing people. So it really comes down to like how quickly and how successful are you in hiring, and actually not only, I mean, getting the talent, but just retaining the talent as well. Then it's about really, I mean, having lean processes and really like smooth operations. Then A players, I mean, having the best person you can find that fits your salary range for the role. So, I mean, what is an A player? A player means that you basically, you're not necessarily I mean, let's say that you want to have a person for doing like customer service. I mean, it would be someone who's really excels in this specific area. And also, I mean, you always have this specific salary range that you're going to give for the person. So it means that there might be actually this best person, I mean, that's way off out of the salary range that you want to pay, then I mean, it's not even on this, it's not even an option then. But basically, I mean, top grading seeks to reveal these candidate weaknesses, which is really vital in the recruitment process. And it takes a bit of a time, but I mean, in the long run, it will save time when you find the right people. And some common myths are that you would basically need all A players, only have one applicant, or too time consuming. That's not really accurate. It works really well if you just do it right. But basic rules in hiring is that, okay, first of all, you hire for the cultural fit. So, I mean, we're always talking about the company core values, and it really has to be the main thing. Like, is the person that you are taking in, I mean, is the person like going to fit well in the culture? Because if it's not, then, I mean, it's going to be causing issues, because their vision or their like aims, their goals, it will not be aligned with your like company vision and what kind of culture you want to have. Then second thing is that you hire for the energy and enthusiasm. That's because like when you have these people working for you who are really energetic and really like enthusiastic what they are like doing, then typically what happens is that energy spreads around, and your like home team and people are surrounding these energetic people will also be energetic. So this means the team will be more energetic, and then the whole company will be more energetic. So you really want to have these kind of like Duracell bunnies running around. And I mean, lastly is for the skill, because I mean, skills can be developed, and I mean, competence can be developed, but I mean, without those cultural fit, I mean, it has no chance of really succeeding. But yeah, I mean, what about the current employees? I mean, let's say that we already have some superstars. So what should we do with them? The number one problem is usually that we need to stop demotivating. Good saying that, I mean, people don't quit their jobs, people quit their managers, and it's pretty spot on. And so it's good to consider that, all right, because once a new person joins in, and if you think about the time that you have started a new job, I mean, usually, I mean, you probably were pretty like enthusiastic and really motivated that, okay, I have a new job, I really want to succeed in this, and I really want to make a good job. But then, so you start really motivated. People start really motivated, but then something like happens during the that can actually start eating that motivation, and that can be like bureaucracy or just like bad kind of company culture or something like that.
That's why, or even no onboarding, like people who just nobody's paying attention how to train the person, or it's going to be like a huge mess immediately. Nobody explains things. Nobody welcomes the person into the team. And
it was a crazy statistic, like from the US, that it was like half of the workforce, they do not know what is being expected from them like every single day. And you can imagine that how that impacts motivation, because I mean, I don't know if I'm doing a good job or not. And so eventually that motivation will just go lower and lower. And of course, also this unhealthy work environment or team. That it might be that in the team there's a couple of bad apples, and they end up ruining the work atmosphere for everyone.
And so, by the way, if you see those apples, if you find out that someone is gossiping or saying something bad about other people, and basically, talking bad stuff around people's backs, then make sure you're going to fire those people immediately from the spot. These are extremely poisonous people.
Yes, and demotivation spreads around like cancer. So if you don't cut it out, if you don't cut it loose, then it will just going to be spreading. So, okay, let's talk about like why people and why key players lose enthusiasm. Well, I mean, it's usually working with not the greatest people. So let's imagine that you're really a superstar person and you come into this team, and then you notice that, okay, people are maybe slacking around, or they don't care, or they are like, they don't have mastery or passion in their work. So if you really care a lot about mastery and passion, and you really want to develop your skills, then I mean, it's going to be pretty annoying if you are in a team where like other people don't really care about that much about the output, because A players really are ambitious and really care about their craft and mastery. So they really want to get better and better all the time. So this requires that you're also working with people who are like making you go up instead of actually dragging you down. And then, I mean, having these really dumb, stupid processes, or maybe a really rigid about processes, but you are not able to explain why. And maybe it's just, well, I mean, I made this process like 5 years ago, and we are sticking into it no matter what. Okay, but why? What about if there's some better way? So, I mean, that kind of like crazy rules and having no flexibility, I mean, it's just it is going to lose the enthusiasm. And actually, it has happened to me a few times that I've been an A player in this, I mean, in corporate world, and then I started like really motivated and so on. But then something happened. For example, some rules, or I mean, maybe it's impossible to make change happen. And then I basically went from an A player to C player. And this is the most dangerous thing to happen, that you cannot let your A players become C players, because once that happens, they don't really care about your company or the work at all. And I mean, we really ought to throw a party on the first day of the employee's employment just to get it on the right track and celebrate it.
That's why one thing, if people will tell you that this is a problem in the process, or this problem really is going on, then if you as a company owner ignore that, then it's really, really bad.
Yeah, because then it feels that you are not able to make an impact, and I mean,
and you don't care.
Yeah. If the company doesn't care, then why should you? So it's really important to make people really feel welcome and find ways to motivate them from day one, and really give an opportunity to contribute starting from day one. So, I mean, there's many things you can do, but main thing is that you basically keep the dumb stuff out of the way and just focus on people and having this flexibility and giving people the possibility to make an impact. Because, I mean, people quit people, they don't quit companies. So, and what is that motivates people? Well, I mean, typically people love doing the stuff that they are really good at. So the key question is that, do I get to play on my strengths? And then really understanding that there's some kind of vision, and they also understand like how I play a role in this like bigger company vision. Like, how can I actually make an impact? So typically they might like what the company is doing, what's the purpose and all that stuff, and they see their role in this bigger picture, and they understand how they can make an impact. Then appreciation, recognition. When you do a good job, you actually get feedback and recognized and awarded for it.
Actually, I want to quickly add on this number 3, that actually this is more important than in some cultures. It's even more important than anything else. Honestly, I mean, even Napoleon said that he discovered that men are willing to die for badges and honor. You know, it's just like recognition is more important for people, for their mental beings than money. I mean, people want money, but actually they want even more recognition and appreciation. Money,
Yeah.
they need money, but the recognition and appreciation is even more important. It's insane how important this is. That's why we're building right now a recognition system and gamification system and all them around the areas we want to improve. But this is going to be next talk someday.
Yeah, and I mean, when we talk about salary rates, it just means that it has to be on the same level that they would get elsewhere. I mean, if it's significantly less, then it starts to impact this motivation. But I mean, if it's on the same level pretty much, then I mean, it doesn't really have that big an impact. So I mean, as long as just people are getting the kind of like the industry average.
I'd like to add also the salary raise a little bit, because one thing I noticed for many times is that higher salary doesn't mean higher performance.
No. Yeah.
And also like corporate people tend to be more, how to say, more in a box than younger people who come from school or somewhere. And so we have paid a huge amount of money, like in the Philippines, like $3,500 for the people who are supposed to be extremely good, but they actually mess up the whole thing. And so,
yeah, because we have experimented with a lot of things, and we have also seen that, hey, I mean, these people come from the corporate world and have this, and I mean, really impressive background and skills. So, I mean, let's try it out and see if it really, I mean, brings this huge impact. But I mean, most of the time we have noticed that it didn't really have that big of a
yeah. So one of the ways you can actually, if you want to really hire a professional in your team, then one of the ways you can somehow become more confident on paying lots of salary to that person is that, all right, so I give you maybe 2 weeks, 3 weeks, or 4 weeks, and you're gonna create me a plan. What and how we're gonna improve this company, and how fast, and in what are the projects, what are the things we're gonna do. You're gonna talk to our people. You're gonna, speak to our employees and create me a plan. And if the plan is good for you, then sure, let's hire you. You're gonna execute that plan now. But then again, if you just hire people by they tell you that, well, I've been doing this for 5 years or 10 years, it doesn't mean anything. There has to be some sort of exam or plan or something that proves this person's worth.
Yes. And speaking of money, I actually did make this survey like a couple of years ago, where I gave different options and for our employees, and just to kind of figure out that what are the things that they motivates them the most. And the first thing they mentioned was money. Second thing was this meaningful work and interesting projects. Third thing was this team environment and being part of a great team. Fourth was freedom, autonomy, and fifth was this career path. But I can actually say that even though they said, and typically, I mean, this is common that people mention that the biggest motivator for them is money. But people are lying because it's not really true. And let's say that I have team and I would just like double their salary, but I would treat them like garbage. Like, what do you think? How many people would I have left at the end of this year? End of the year? Not many. Or if you think that I would give them something like some incredible boring work, like let's say that like in the movie Signing, the person's just writing this one sentence, like all work and no play makes Jack a dull boy. Let's say that the work would be just, okay, you will write this one sentence 1 million times per day. Like, how long would people last? Not very long, because they would just go insane. So it's not true when people say that the money is the main motivating factor. I mean, I say, as long as like it's the industry average or so on, I mean, after that part, it's really not true, and the other aspects are actually more important.
And with the money is also there's some threshold, some amount you kind of need to live somehow not in lack, because at some point the lack goes away. Lack means that you need to count cents when you go buy food for your family, right? So if you get over that threshold, then the money or need for money significantly decreases. So
yeah, so we can take a look at this is Maslow's hierarchy of needs for people. I mean, the first thing is this physiological needs, and then the second thing is safety. So this is basically where money is. So it gives you this purpose of, so that you are able to provide for your family, you are able to buy food. But those are as long as you have those, then basically it comes more about this self-actualizations, meaning that you do interesting work and you do what you love and that kind of stuff.
And if someone wants to quickly say what's the threshold in Philippines, then I would say starting 40,000 pesos, which is I don't know, almost less than $800. So yeah. So something like this, 50 or is already where people are really, really happy. It's already like a middle class, higher middle class, and 100 is already rich.
But it really depends on the area where people live. What you mentioned is the highest is in Manila, in the capital, but on the other areas, it's basically just a fraction of that.
Yeah, that's why if they are not in Manila, then like I said, 35, 37, 40 is already, it's a good, they will keep the job. They don't just run randomly if you're not an asshole.
Yeah. And then they are not quitting the job, they are quitting on you. So a leader's job is not to really manage the time, it's really to manage the energy of the people, so that you are able to upkeep this energy, and you are able to have this kind of positive energy. And that doesn't mean it's just happy and this doesn't conflict with having confrontation and all the stuff. No, this is just about that you are able to keep people really energetic. And this was actually data from the US market that typically, if you just hire by the gut feeling, then typical success rate is 25%. And the cost in the corporate world, the cost of a mishire can be 30 times the base salary. But we live in the online world where it's basically easy to hire and fire people, but it's still good to keep in mind that mishires can actually just end up wasting your time, and which is more valuable than money. So the right questions to ask is that what are my right seats, and do you have the right people in each seat, and are the right people doing the right things, and how do you then find, keep, and grow the talents? So some of the best practices that Topgrading mentions is having this kind of talent review and scorecards for each position, and basically always act on these safe players and build a virtual bench. I will go through those in a bit, and then basically build these interviewing skills, screening, Topgrading, and reference checking, and this is actually most important, that you actually coach and retain these A players. So it's basically talent assessment just means that you look at your employees, and then basically consider that okay, how are they basically doing. And I can really, we always, when talking about people, we always come back to this responsibility process, because it's really teaches people how to respond to different problems. And every single day, every person is supposed to have problems, because it just means that, if you don't have problems, then it means that you are not improving anything. And basically, the best way to ruin your team or company is to let people off the hook and tolerate this low performance. So key thing is to hold everyone accountable, and don't be afraid to give warnings, and basically just let people go. And the thing is that if you give someone like 5 chances, like another chance, second chance for 5 different times, then it means that you need to give for every person these 5 chances. So you really need to treat everyone equally, which means that there is no favoring of one person besides, or because favoritism that can really hurt the company morale. But yeah, this is actually a good way to assess the talent. So there's the x-axis is this productivity performance, and the y is this fit, which means the core values. So by using this, you can basically plot on your team on different areas, like do you have A, B, C, or B and C players? So ideally, all A players should really make up like 85% of the organization, while B players should be no more than 15%, all of which are A potential. So that means that they have the potential with the right kind of nurturing becoming A players. So it can really take years to get to this point, but when you get there, it means that you have 0 C players and 0 B to C players.
And by the way, before you go into this, we'll quickly add to that that's why you need this RASI metrics or matrix or SOPs to be assigned to the people, so you know what performance actually means. So I always tell that you have 2 ways to lead a person. It's either with a KPI to keep as a key performance indicator for the person, or then the person is just running on projects. And sometimes they do both, right? They have projects that increase their KPIs. Now, if you don't do performance review, means that if nobody cares about performance, then nobody knows about the performance. If you don't tell the person about the performance, then they don't know about the performance, and then they may think that they are amazing performers, or they may think that this company sucks. Everybody are low performers. So the point what I want to make is that identifying these recurring actions, these SOPs, which drive that person's KPI, is extremely important. The role has to be measurable. If it's not measurable somehow, then there is no performance. Person comes to you and asks more money. Just why? Well, I've been amazing. How do you know? Well, I think so. Well, do you know? Well, I don't know either. Then it's a stupid situation, right? And so define performance.
I don't know if I have done a good job. You should know that.
So what is performance? So yeah, usually performance are recurring actions, and recurring gestures are SOPs, and also every person has KPI and a number they need to increase. Whatever it is, Instagram followers, YouTube views, conversion rate of listing, Amazon sales, net profit per product, whatever it is, right? So assign something that leads to mastery, and gives person ability to measure its performance. If you don't do that, I promise you, you will get whipped by your own company. And I've been, it's come from my own pain.
Yes. Okay, fine. Now we have established that, but what are these A, B, or C players? Well, A player means that it's high fit, so it means high cultural fit, and then high productivity. So they are not only doing good on their task and so on, but they are also a role model for the core values. So yeah, it's living the core values, highly productive, and delivers what's been accepted but the thing is that you really have to make sure they are the best A player they can be. So which means that they actually require attention from you and also coaching. And B player then just means that it's basically high on the cultural fit but low on productivity. So they have areas to improve when it comes to like task level performance. So it's someone who's going good fit, but it's not really as productive as could be. Could definitely be doing better job. So there's two types. There's A potential. So someone that has a potential to function as an A player within 6 months. And then C player, it's a cultural fit but has low or no potential to become an A player. So both of these require mentoring and training to become A players. But it actually might just be that the role that they currently have, it's not the best role for them. So then it might be a question of actually moving them a different role where they would really succeed and thrive. And where do people succeed and thrive? They succeed and thrive where they get to play on their strengths and they actually love what they are doing. Then B2C is low fit, high productivity. So it's someone who's good, low fit for the organization, but is highly productive. But this is really dangerous, and this is really like red flags because on productivity it's really good, but this person is not acting according to our company core values, which means that if we let that person go off the hook by like violating our core values, then we are basically not valuing the core values ourselves. And changing person's mindset, it's forget about it. And then so C player means low fit, low productivity. So it can easily track these high performers down and needs to be immediately transitioned out of the organization and replaced by an A player or someone with the potential to become one.
The most dangerous C players are people who talk. They're really, really talkative and talkable and approachable. They are super nice people in terms of like in talks, but in reality, they have no productivity, no performance. They just don't do much, but they talk well. Be careful about this.
Yeah, you can usually find these people using a lot the certification phase of the responsibility process.
Yes.
Okay, so do I have the best talent in the market for the pay we provide? And emphasizing the pay that you provide. If you cannot hire the best person on the planet if you're not willing to pay that the salary that the person is actually expecting to get. So it's really deep diving on this recruitment and interview method that really recognizes patterns on this patterns in the candidates like background and work history. And basically, if you want to read more about this, here's a bunch of books that you can check out. So this Topgrading is, basically a system of its own, and we've been using it for quite some time, but I don't actually know all the details of it because I just made our HR manager to go through it. And that's basically the way you should build the organization that, okay, you have specialists who are basically building mastery on a specific area.
So we also in 11x training, we also have this whole funnel of how we hire right now people. And basically there's a landing page where we drive traffic. And on the landing page, we tell people what do we do and ask, does it inspire you? If it doesn't, then cool, it's close the page. Then describe the person we are working with, and describe the person we don't want to work with, ask them to review themselves. Again, if they don't fit the person we like to work with, as we are literally asking them to move on, don't apply. We tell them don't apply. And of course, we give them benefits and stuff that we are offering, and then we give them a form of questions which we will find out of their mindset and fit with our core values. For example, for one of the core values we have, achieve mastery, is we can ask them, like, how have you improved your role or your skills in the last company, working in last company, so again, like you have to ask questions that are important for you. And so after that, if they pass that, we give them exam. An exam really shows, actually, it eventually shows, like, and then we talk to the person. So we don't talk to them if they don't fit with our values, and they don't complete exam. And this is all automatic.
And good to keep in mind that good people are always employed. If you have people who have been like unemployed for 6 months, then it's not really a good sign, is it?
So, do you agree or disagree? Let me know your thoughts. If you like this video, then hit the thumbs up and subscribe to the channel. If you need any help with implementing any of this, then sign up for my free training.